Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night number 78 of the Overnight Feeds for Big Brother Season 26. A good Saturday to all of y'all. All right. Well, just as a reminder, we've got Chelsea as the HOH. We did have a veto competition yesterday, and that's just almost all that we've got to talk about. We had a few conversations. We'll cover those. But the big news is we did have the all important Final Four veto competition, and the winner of yesterday's veto is Mackenzie. Is anyone surprised about that? No, I don't think so. Rabina, Cam, yeah, I wasn't expecting them to win. Chelsea, maybe she tried for it, maybe not. Not really sure just yet. But Mackenzie certainly needed this veto. I think she could have been gone without it. But Mackenzie wins the veto, which means Chelsea has advanced to the final three by virtue of her HOH win. Mackenzie has advanced to the final three by virtue of this veto win. And now Mackenzie will be deciding who goes out the door, who advances to the final three between Cam and Rabina. That's the one decision, one decision this week that has to be made. We still have the final three HOH. Someone's going to have to decide who they want to take with them. That's really my biggest question right now this season is whether it's Cam or Rabina that are in the final three with Chelsea and Mackenzie. You've got to assume that Chelsea or Mackenzie wins the final competition to decide who to take the final two, right? If that's the case, do they stay true to each other, or do they assure themselves a victory by pulling Rabina or Cam with them to a final two? We'll see. Could this be a final 16 type season where someone ends up costing themselves $750,000 because they stayed loyal to that final two as opposed to taking the easy slam dunk? We shall see. Conversations to be had for another day. Lord knows we're going to need enough content over this next week. So for now, let's just talk about the conversations we had last night. Feeds were back around 3 o'clock or so. The three ladies were in the kitchen talking. They seemed to be in pretty good mood. Mackenzie certainly good mood, but all of them seeming to be in a good mood. While Cam, much like HOH, after he lost HOH, he was in the bathroom, just acting very depressed. Similar type situation now. He's in the rock bedroom, just not feeling great that he has lost yet another veto competition. Feeling very depressed, it appears like, based on the cameras. But we've got the ladies in the kitchen, Cam over in the rock bedroom. The women are discussing the veto competition. It sounds like it was a question and answer type comp of some sort involving days and events, just like they've been practicing for all season long. And so days, events type competition, a memory competition that involve former house guests either asking the questions, or maybe the questions were involving statements that the house guests were making, but it sounds like there was some type of a vocal and audio component to the challenge itself. So I'm not really sure, but some kind of question and answer type deal. It sounds like Cam came in very close second to MJ. That they're saying he knew his days, he had it all figured out, and that he just didn't quite do it as much of a time. So maybe not true or false point type thing. Maybe it was I don't know. Well, we don't know. But anyway, Cam came very close to beating Mackenzie on this one. Certainly no one is accusing him of throwing it. In fact, Mackenzie says, well, maybe that theory of him throwing comps wasn't necessarily true. Well, maybe it just wasn't true for this competition, Mackenzie. I still think Cam has thrown his share of comps, but he needed this one. He realizes that it didn't happen. Later, Cam tells Rabina that it just didn't in his cards to win, that the sped up schedule is throwing him off. Is that what it is, Cam? It's just a sped up schedule. Yeah, it's just not in the cards for Cam to win this season, win these competitions. He is wishing that the eviction was tomorrow instead of Thursday, as are we all. We could have today's Saturday. We could have a live eviction special on Sunday. I know they don't want to do it for football and all that kind of stuff, but you could have a live eviction for Sunday, immediately move into the final three competition, wrap this thing up middle of next week. We're going to have so little conversation and such going on between now and then. This last week and a half, 2 weeks, it's just dead time. You don't get a lot of it. So I am with you, Cam. I'd love to have it, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Yeah, he's just fed up. He's just wishing it was done at this point in time. He doesn't have any power. Cam has not had any power all season long, which in terms of surviving, making to the end, I guess that can be a strategy that can work for some seasons. What's his resume going to be if he somehow got drugged to the final two? I'm sure it's going to be along the lines of, hey, I laid low. It was intentional. Y'all accused me of not being good at comps and everything. That was all planned. It was a very specific action on my part. I stayed friendly with everyone. I didn't get anyone mad at me. I got to where I needed to get. The only way I think that would work is if Cam suddenly turned it on, won these last couple of competitions, decided who to take to the final two with him. Even then, I don't think it's enough. But at least then he could say, I turned it on to the very end when I needed to. He's ready to be done. I think we're ready for him to be done in a lot of ways. All right, the house guests did have a surprise. They were locked down for a little bit. They got their tiny table. Remember when the season starts, this table sits 16. Halfway through it, reduces down to a table for about 8 or so people. I think they had 7 people when they got their table. Now you got a little tiny little coffee table for 4 people. It seems silly, but during my season, I remember seeing that little table. It meant a lot. It really was such a huge significance of you made it to the very end, or close to the very end at least. So it was cool. And so they got their little tiny table. Congratulations to them for that. They're a little upset. They said when we first came in, we got this big food spread, charcuterie board, and we didn't take advantage of it because we were so busy talking and all that. And now we're not getting anything. They're thinking that they were thinking earlier they'd get videos from home. I don't think that's happened. At least it hadn't been on the feeds or talked about, but they haven't gotten that. They were talking about maybe getting a former house guest coming into the house. Well, now they don't think they're going to get that. They're ready for some kind of party at some point in time. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. I don't remember us getting anything special at the very end. But they are happy to have their tiny table. All right, we do have a little game talk. Mackenzie and Chelsea are talking to each other. Mackenzie not sure what she's going to do with this veto. One last decision to be made this week, and does she take Cam or Rubina with her? She says that she thinks Cam is probably a little bit better competitor, but she's worried about his reaction after losing. And she says that he's just kind of being a sore loser, the fact that he lost. And I'm not sure what her worry is that's going to fire him up a little bit more for the last bit, or that he'll hold it against her that she beat him. Not really sure what she means by that, but I think it's Chelsea that points out, and Mackenzie agrees, said, look, in the end, we should be able to easily beat either one of these two. So maybe we don't have to worry so much about it from that standpoint. Mackenzie is worried that if she keeps Rubina and Rubina somehow miraculously won the final two competition, the final HOH, that Mackenzie's pretty certain that Rubina would take Chelsea to the finals and cut Mackenzie. And I think that's a valid concern, but here's the thing. I think that's the concern whether she keeps Cam or Rubina. I think either one of those would take Chelsea and not Mackenzie to the final two. So with that in mind, I don't think Mackenzie can be worrying about who would cut who. I think it's more about if you make it to the final two chairs and there's a possibility that you have one of them with you, who would better be the choice to have with you to best guarantee your victory. I think that's important. And you got to think about jury votes as well. I mean, theoretically, if you had one of them with you, that means that they're not voting. So which of them maybe would be more inclined to vote for Chelsea? And maybe you want to hold on to them for that. A lot of little scenarios that Mackenzie has to think about. She also has to be careful not to overthink this too much. At the end, it may just come down to loyalty versus the girls' alliance and what really is most important to her. And it may not matter a lot beyond that. All right. Mackenzie is a little bit worried about Rubina about that. The big takeaway from this is Rubina and Chelsea both agreeing that, hey, no matter what, it's the two of us that need to be at this final two chair. The other two don't deserve it. It needs to be us. As long as that happens, the rest of this doesn't matter. Again, is that going to be the case? Are they going to stay loyal, or is someone going to backstab at the very last moment in order to assure a victory? Kind of would like to see that, only for the chaos and the drama. But having said that, I absolutely believe these are the two that need to be sitting in the final two chairs. Nothing against Cam, that's nothing against Rabina. But if you're going to gauge the season of Big Brother and award the victory based on gameplay, not perfect games from either two of them. I'm not saying that, but strictly from of the four left, the two who deserve to be in those final two chairs most, it needs to be Chelsea and Mackenzie. May not be, but it needs to be. All right, Mackenzie is talking about they both saying we just need to figure out who we can beat the easiest to get to those final two chairs. Mackenzie's talking a little bit about seeing her family on finale night, and I think Chelsea saying, yeah, all three families get to be in the audience because you don't know until the last second who actually was evicted. So yeah, all three will be invited for finale night. All right, we do have the group coming together, having a group dinner. Just general chat about the season. They're looking at memory wall photos. They're talking about Janky World, saying that they don't think Tucker would have handled Janky World well whatsoever. They're still wondering who the AI instigator is, the hacker of the season. Well, remember, that was Tucker, and there is suspicion it could be Tucker. I think Chelsea says something like, oh, or Rabina says, nah, he would have told me if it was him. I don't remember that he was allowed to. I think he was required to keep it quiet. But they're all wondering who the instigator is. Do they not remember Tucker's BB comic from just, like a day ago? Well, a few days ago, where his comic is the AI instigator, right? I think I'm remembering that correctly. But they are remembering that. They're wondering who the AI instigator is, laughing about that. They're talking about the possibility of a Leah Quinn showmance in Jury House going on. Mackenzie's saying that she's going to be a little insane. She's going to go a little ballistic if Matt shows up at finale night and he's already dating someone else. I think Rabina said, well, why? She said, I don't know, just because I'm petty. So, yeah, she doesn't intend to be dating Matt when they get done, but she still doesn't want to see him with someone else. Amazingly, this season, one showmance. That's it. One showmance. I really thought maybe Cam and Chelsea never happened. One showmance, and that's Rabina and Tucker, and we'll see what happens going forward with that. But they're talking about Lynn and Quinn maybe being the second showmance in the Jury House, where there's talk about America's favorite, and could it be Angela perhaps who wins? Mackenzie saying, yeah, I don't want Angela to be it, but Rabina's thinking that's a possibility that it could be her. We'll see. Hey, it's going to be up to us, America, to figure out who we want to have as America's favorite. All right. Lots of napping going on in this house. Several of them. Mackenzie said, hey, I'm going to take a nap, and don't you dare call me out for no napping. It's a little bit of napping throughout the day, throughout the evening itself. We do have Mackenzie and Chelsea in the HOH room talking about finale night, the wrap party. They're all excited about the wrap party. Chelsea said something about Cedric kissing Leah in the wrap party. Yeah, she is throwing stuff out there, but they're all excited about the wrap party, how it's going to go. Is it going to be on the CBS lot? Is it going to be somewhere else? Just a little FYI for those of you who aren't aware. After the season is over, the same night, we had a wrap party. I don't know if it's still the same 5 years later, but we had a wrap party. We had our backyard interviews with all the different media folks. As soon as that part was over, you were led to this wrap party. Not nearly as exciting as I thought. Part of it's because I just was ready to see my family. Nothing against anyone. I just wanted to see my family. But all I remember is going in, immediately being mobbed by a dozen or so people who were, I don't even know who they were, just random people who were part of production or something. And talking, never moving from my one spot where I landed at, talking to people the whole time for an hour or two, and then being told it's time to go back and meet your family, which I was all for. Never got to hang around with the other castmates or anything because each and every one of us was just kind of surrounded, and a lot of people asking a lot of questions and things like that. So have fun at your wrap party. I hope it's every bit of what you think it was. For me, it was just a temporary one more thing that you had to do before you got home to see the ones who mattered, which was the family itself. All right, we've got Michelle and Michelle. We've got Mackenzie and Chelsea watching Cam just kind of wandering around. He was in the backyard playing pool by himself. He's you're walking around the house, just kind of a Walking Dead type soul in more ways than one. Threw a pool ball in the pool table, and Big Brother said, "Be careful." But Chelsea and Mackenzie are upstairs watching him, saying, "What's he doing? Why is he just wandering around the house?" Big old house, 4 people. what else are you going to do at this point in time? It's starting to feel like a trapped animal, I'm sure. All right, Rabina is alone. I think she's in the unicorn bedroom talking about her game, congratulating herself on having made it so far. She's wondering how she could spin this into some kind of victory, which means winning out over Cam in terms of Mackenzie's vote on Thursday, and then somehow making it to the very end and winning. She's saying that there is an underdog story for her somewhere where she could win this thing. She's talking about that she's the last unicorn standing. Everyone who is sleeping in the unicorn room, she's the last one. She's saying that she believes that her saving grace this season, what she did well, was not being messy. She kept her thoughts to herself. She was always patient, empathetic to other people. So I don't think she makes it to the final two chair, but you can see what she's going to try to do in terms of spinning why she maybe deserves it. It's basically, hey, I didn't offend anyone else, and I didn't do anything to create major drama that would have gotten me booted out the door. So she's talking about all that. She's talking about, and I thought this was interesting. She's talking about that she planted the seeds about wanting two women in the finals, three women in the final three. So she is at this point acknowledging, even if it's just to herself, acknowledging that this idea of a women's alliance, a women's final two, final three, was part of a game strategy, which we know is the case. But I wasn't necessarily certain if it was her viewpoint, or if I just wasn't sure how sincere it was. It sounds like she's aware that it was certainly, at least in part, a strategy to the game itself. So yeah, she's talking about planting the seeds of wanting that to happen. She's complaining. Now, I give her credit for this. She's complaining about Tucker a little bit, saying, Tucker and his alliances. She's trying to remember all the alliances names that she was in. Can't even remember all of them. She's got a lot of them, but a lot of alliances. She's talking about Tucker, saying, he always wanted to have as an alliance name the number of people that were in an alliance. So 5 Points had 5 people. 6th Avenue had 6 people. She said, why did he always want to have the number of people in the title of the alliance? I absolutely, my faith and props go out to you for Rabina for recognizing that. One of my pet peeves in Big Brother: don't name your alliance with a number that says how many people are in there, because then if anyone ever overhears the name, they'll know exactly how many people were in there. I always thought, I didn't have a chance during my season, but I always thought it would have been fun to have an alliance name and just add a couple of extra digits to it. Cliff's Angels was a group of 4. Maybe we should have been Cliff and his 4 angels or something, just to make people paranoid. But yeah, it didn't work out. But yeah, I agree with Rabina. Don't name, if future Big Brother house guests, do not name your alliance with a number in the name unless you want to be sneaky and misdo it or something. We'll see. SEAL Team 6 that took out Osama bin Laden, there weren't actually 6 SEAL Team groups. My understanding is they just have that number just to make people nervous. All right. Kind of going off on a tangent there. All right, let's get back to Big Brother. We've got Cam and Rabina in the backyard talking, just general chit chat for the most part. They're wondering if T-Core had secrets that they don't know about that they'll find out later. They're talking about former house guests going on other shows. I think we need Cam on the challenge, right? That's what I'm pushing right now. Let's get Cam on the challenge. Let's see if different types of competitions may be suiting Cam better. He is a former Division I athlete. He may be much more suited to a spot on the challenge. But the challenge likes messy players, Cam. You may not be messy enough for that show. But yeah, they're talking about former house guests going on their shows. They're talking about their jobs. Cam's talking about being in the Canadian Football League, getting injured, doing what he did eventually. Rabina's talking about her marketing thing that she does and all, how they came up with the name and all that. Cam talks about his special skill that he can do the alphabet backwards. And it just seems like that's a bit of a challenge thrown out directly to me, whether he's aware of it or not. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we finish up the season, as we're absolutely desperate for content, let me start or finish by doing my own alphabet backwards. If I do this correctly, I practiced a while, but here we go. ZYXWVU TSRQP ONMLJIK KJIHGFEDCBA. All right, almost got it. I use that when I tried out for the show. I don't know how many people asked me to do the alphabet backwards. Fortunately, I always got it right, and I hope that's not the only thing that got me on the show. But yeah, Cam, you and I, man, we got something in common here. We'll have to just hang out and do our own really boring podcast of just saying the alphabet backwards. All right. But congratulations on being able to do that, Cam. All right. We had a long talk between Chelsea and Mackenzie downstairs, just going on and on. Practicing, I think, for the final three HOH, and this last one, going on and on about season comps, names, results that happened, votes, everything you could imagine about any past competition, trying to remember it all. They were on the downstairs little couch, that little secluded area, for forever. Eventually headed up the HOH room, got in bed. They're still doing it. So everyone in bed by 6 o'clock in the morning. Chelsea and Mackenzie still lights off, but still up there going on and on. I thought, well, yeah, we're not getting anything else out of this evening, so I was going to shut it down right there. So there you have it, guys. Again, the big two highlights from this thing, I suppose. Chelsea, Mackenzie wins veto, so she and Chelsea for certain heading to the final three. Mackenzie has to decide on the other two. Worried that Rabina would cut her. Worried that Cam may be a little bit of a sore loser. We'll have a lot of conversations over the next few days, and I agree with Cam. Just do it today or tomorrow and be done with it, but that's not going to be the case. Guys, enjoy your Saturday. I will be back tomorrow morning to tell you all the crazy adventures that happen in a Big Brother house, and that ought to take about a minute or two. But until then, have a great one, my friends. Enjoy your Saturday. SKD 143. Give your loved ones a hug. Just do it because it's important to do so. Guys, have a great one. Cheers, my friends. Bye.